Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the MBRP Armor Plus dual rear exit exhaust system with the polished tips, fitting 2009 to 2021 5.7 liter Tundras. This is a great option for the Tundra owner who wants that classic hot rod look paired with great tone and tolerable volume. This makes a perfect choice for a daily driven truck. Now speaking of that volume, we're going to give this one a 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's not super loud, but definitely a noticeable difference versus stock. Now, it is no secret around these parts that I like MBRP exhausts, and if you've been shopping around, you'll know that you'd be hard-pressed to find a better value for your money, especially considering what you get here. Now, this is a full catback system, so it retains your stock catalytic converters, of course. And as you heard from the clips at the beginning of the video, this one does err a bit more on the side of subtlety than some other exhausts, which makes sense, as this is their street profile. This is still a definitive change over stock. It's going to bring more of that burble and classic V8 lumpiness at idle with a deeper tone throughout the rest of the rev range. Though it doesn't produce enough noise to whip your neighbors up into a frenzy, it is still going to get your truck noticed. Inside, of course, you can expect a bit more volume than stock too, but it's not too obtrusive. Just a nice low rumble when you're out cruising around, and a bit more wail when you really bury the pedal. Now this is going to make it a great option for a truck that sees daily driver use, or just a lot of miles in general. You also aren't going to have to deal with a ton of drone like you might in some other more budget-friendly systems, and that's thanks to these twin canister style mufflers that are provided. Now these do have a good amount of baffling in them, so you can hear there's not a ton of resonance, and you can see there's a bunch of stuff in there as well. So that's going to help keep things a bit more subdued, stave off that pesky drone, and keep volume at a tolerable level. Now at the back end, you get a pair of large 3.5-inch polished tips. Now these are going to exit out back underneath of your rear bumper, giving you very much that classic hot rod or muscle car style setup. And that, I think, looks good on any truck. Plus you've got the big MBRP logo stamped on the edges of both of them too. Again, just a nice little visual update. This is again a full catback system, and in particular this one is made from 2.5-inch mandrel bent T409 grade stainless steel. Now this is going to provide you with some solid protection from the elements, though it won't be quite as much as T304 stainless steel. Now this is going to do a good job at staving off rust and corrosion, though it won't be quite as much protection as you would get with a T304 stainless system. However, it also doesn't cost quite as much as a comparable T304 stainless system either. Pricing comes in at about $875, and that puts it about square in the middle of the pack when it comes to cost. This one does far undercut most T304 stainless options, and it sounds better than most of the others on the market too. So for your dollars, you're getting a really solid, great sounding, good looking exhaust. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. This is going to be a totally bolt-on system, including the new hanger you need for that driver's side over axle pipe. It also comes with all the clamps and hardware that you need to get the job completed, and it's otherwise going to utilize all of your factory exhaust hanger locations. So definitely something you can accomplish at home in your driveway or garage. With that, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the installation process.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, an extension, 8mm Allen socket, 13, 14, and 15mm sockets, some penetrating lubricant, hanger removal tool, some gloves, eye protection, and also not shown here is an extra set of hands to help you with your factory exhaust. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing an exhaust on our Tundra, but before we get started we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory setup, and we'll see you when you get back.
Alright, so before we can get started installing our new exhaust, we're going to go ahead and get our factory one off. We're going to show you how to do that while keeping our factory pipe intact. Obviously, if you plan on never reusing your original equipment, muffler and exhaust pipe, you can just cut it and make it a lot easier to remove off of your truck, to be quite honest with you. But this is a fleet vehicle, so this installation is not going to be permanent. So we're going to show you how to get it all out in one piece. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing I would recommend doing before you get going here, let your exhaust cool down if you've been driving your truck, and also get in there with some lubricating oil and spray up the little rubber hangers. That'll make popping those metal hangers out of the rubber a lot easier. All right, now to get started, like I already said guys, I'm gonna make sure everything's cooled down. This first 2 bolts that we're gonna take out are right by a catalytic converter, which gets really hot. And we've been letting our truck sit for like an hour and it's still pretty warm. I also recommend having eyewear and some gloves while you work with your exhaust. Exhaust pipes tend to have sharp edges to them, not to mention the surfaces being hot as well. So let's go ahead and get these out. Our factory bolts are 14mm. All right, same 14mm socket for these two bolts as well. Now we're gonna have a total of 4 rubber hangers like this, guys, and to be quite honest with you, if you're trying to keep your pipe intact like we are, you can do these in any order that you want. We're kind of doing it the way it might be easiest for us to demonstrate for you. So we're at the one that's all the way obviously back here by our spare tire. And you might see a little bit of wetness here on the rubber. I sprayed some penetrating oil on there earlier just to let it sink in. That makes these coming off a lot easier. All right, guys, now this is the 4th out of 4 rubber hangers. So obviously once we pop this one loose, you gotta make sure your pipe is supported in some kind of way.
All right guys, welcome back. Now that we have our factory system off, we can begin installing our new setup. Now the one we're going to be installing is a dual exit. Obviously factory is single, so we're going to need to add a hanger bracket on the driver's side. So we're going to come back here on our frame rail directly next to our sway bar end link, and there is an opening for a hole right here at this cross member next to your spare tire. So we're going to grab our provided bolt and flat washer, put that up top, down through the bottom, and then we'll get our hanger bracket mounted with our other provided hardware. So now we'll get our bolt and flat washer up in place. Put that down, get our hanger bracket on there. Now you want the L and the isolator itself to be facing in towards the truck when we tighten it down. Once we've got our washers on, we'll get our nut in place. Turn this how we want it to face, like so. And we'll come in and tighten this down. Now once we have this in place, we'll come in with our 13mm socket, an extension on our impact, and tighten this down. We're just gonna hold the head of this bolt. It should catch. Tighten right up. So now we can come back to our flanges for our catback system, and we're gonna start with our new mid pipes. So we're gonna get our new hanger rod into the factory isolators. Push that in there, and we'll get our flange lined up. We're gonna reuse our factory 14mm bolts. These in place. And we'll come back with our 14mm socket and tighten these down. We've got our 14mm socket with our ratchet, tighten these down. Then we can do the same thing for our passenger side. So now we'll grab our passenger side mid pipe. Once again, we'll get that through our factory isolator. Get this close. Now we no longer have the factory hardware on this side due to our factory mounting nuts getting stripped out. So we're going to be using our nut and bolt combo. through. And we'll tighten these down as well. And for ours, we're going to be using a 15 mil socket. Now, one thing to take note of while you're installing these new mid pipes is these flanges do have gaskets on the inside of them. Chances are they're in good shape, but you want to check them out before you install this. And if you need to, go ahead and grab a new set and replace them. Next, we can install our mufflers. So what we're going to do is grab 2 of our provided 2.5-inch clamps. I'm going to slide those over our mid pipes just to get them in place. It's going to be 1 single muffler for each mid pipe. Get these on. Now once we get each muffler in place, we're going to slide our clamps over our slip joint. And you want those to be basically at the end of your slip joint. And we're going to snug those down. We're not going to fully tighten them just yet with our 15 mil socket. That's just going to hold it in place, but still not allowed to be fully set. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. Next, we'll get our passenger side outlet and over axle in place. So once again, we'll grab a clamp. This one we're going to slide over the slip joint. Get this up and in place. Just like so. Make sure this is pretty straight and just snug this down. Just enough to hold it in position. Now for our driver's side crossover tube, our isolator is going to need to come off of the hanger bracket on the chassis side because the new hanger rod is going to go the same direction as the one on the chassis. So it's going to be a lot easier to pop this off and then put it on once the tube is in. So we're going to grab our hanger removal tool. I'm going to pop this off real quick. Now we're ready to install our crossover tube. So once again, we'll slide our clamp onto our slip joint of our muffler outlet. Get this up and in position. Slide that into our slip joint. And then we'll bring back our isolator. We'll get that onto both hanger rods at the same time. That might benefit you to throw some lubricant into this isolator to make things easier. We'll do that now that we've added some lubricant. Get this onto both hanger rods. Next, we're going to need to bolt our brackets together for our over axle tubes. So we've got our provided bolt and flat washer. We need to do a little bit of adjusting to get them in place. It's kind of hard to see. Get our bolt through. We'll add in a flat washer and lock washer, followed by 13mm nut. Now we are just going to leave this hand tight for now to accommodate for any adjustments we need to make along the way. Now we can get our driver's side outlet in place. So once again, we're going to install our clamp over our slip joint. Get this up into position. This hanger rod is going to go into that isolator we added. Get our slip joint lined up. Alright guys, so now we're going to get ready to snug up our clamp for our outlet. So we've got our 15mm socket. So we're going to tighten that down. So now we're going to tighten this down. I already have it in position. All right, so now that we have this in place, you will notice that this driver's side outlet at full droop in the air does slightly contact the leaf spring. Now, while this is a minor inconvenience, it will be okay once the truck's on the ground and the suspension is slightly compressed. So as long as you're not taking this off any jumps or doing anything too wild, you should be just fine. So now once we have these in place, we'll get our tips on. This is gonna slide right over our outlets. Now you do have some adjustability. You can have these a little bit more in or out. We're gonna go a little bit past flush with our bumper and point our slash cut straight up. These have an 8mm Allen head bolt for our clamp. So we've got our 8mm Allen socket. I'm gonna tighten this down. Now you wanna be careful but deliberate when tightening these. And once you have your tip on, you can repeat the same process for the other side, and we'll go ahead and start tightening everything down. So now we can come back and start tightening down all of our clamps. So we're going to start with our muffler inlet and our 15mm socket on our impact. We can move on to our muffler outlets. Now we can tighten down the bolt and nut for our tie-in bracket. So we've got our 13mm socket. Now we can fully tighten down our last two clamps. One for our crossover.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the MBRP Armor Plus dual rear exit exhaust system with polished tips, fitting 2009 to 2021 5.7 liter Tundras. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things Tundra, be sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.